Hello friends, I'm Sanket. Our today's topic is Pickerview. So now first of the what is Pickerview, how to use it, how to implement in your iOS applications. So now let's start the new projects. So now here I'm creating new projects. Now let's start with the single view applications. Click on next, and now here write down your application name. So now here my application name is Pickerview. Click on next and create. So now in today's topic we are discuss about the UIPickerview. So now first of the what is Pickerview? So now in simple language we can also call it a drop down menu. Okay, but in iOS application development it's called Pickerview. Okay, so now how to use it, how to design it. Okay, so now let's try to design. So go to your main.storyboard parts. Then after, first I am changing my background color. So for the Pickerview, go to your control library, and now here you have to just search Pickerview. Okay, so now simply select this control and drag and drop on your screen. Okay, so now you can see the Pickerview like that. Okay, now in simple language you have to also call as a drop down, but in iOS we will call as a Pickerview. So now Pickerview display one or more wheels that the user manipulate to select items. Okay, as per our requirement, as per application requirement, you have to use the Pickerview using a different manipulate items. Now each wheels known as the components. So now here you can see there are the single components are there. So now how to use it? Pickerview. So now first let's try to implement it. So now using Pickerview, first I am defining a outlet of the Pickerview. Okay, now actually it's not required. Okay, now it's a optional. Okay, but whenever you are using as a dynamic picker, that time the picker outlet is most required. So now here for example my object name is my picker. Okay, now how to implement a picker? So now actually Pickerview is implemented a different method. Okay, so now those method are belongs to a different protocols files. So now actually the first thing, so whenever you are using a Pickerview, so now first the implement a picker data source and delegate with your view controller. So now just select and drag with the data source and the drag with a delegates. So now here what is the data source and delegates? Okay, so now data source and delegates are concatenate with a different types of methods for the presenting your data on the Pickerview. Then after you have to also implement a event with your data on the picker. Okay, so now for the picker, first you have to also implement here as a protocol file. So now here UI Pickerview data source and then UI Pickerview delegates. So now these are the different protocols for the Pickerview. So now here you can see the error of the view controller does not conform the protocol UI Pickerview data source. It means whenever you add a protocol file as a data source and delegates, so now this protocol file consists of so many different types of functions or methods. So now here for the implementing the Pickerview, there are the two required methods for the data source. So now these method are the belongs to UI Pickerview data source. So now here you can see the error and the fix it. Okay, so now you can see there are the two functions, two methods are there. The number of components in Pickerview and number of rows in components. Okay, so now these two methods are the required method of the picker view. Now here, before we implementing, so these methods are belongs to UI data source, UI picker view data source. Now let's see this protocol. So now simply this, and now just click on jump to definitions. So now you can see the another optional methods are there. Okay, now there are the two required method. So now you can see first is number of components and second one is number of rows. Now you can see also optional method. So now optional method is concatenated with the optional keyword. Okay, so now here so many optional method are there, so you can use as per your requirement, but the required method of the picker view are number of components and number of rows in components. So now let's try to implement it. So now first method, it means number of components. So now component, it means section. Okay, now how many sections you want in your picker view. So now using this method you have to implement with, but here what is the different types of datas you have to print on this picker view. So now first implement with the array. So now here I am creating one array as a string. So my array name is data, and now I am implementing this array in view did load. So now here I am implementing some element like as iOS, as a Android, Java, Python, then PHP, then Perl, then Ruby. Okay, so now here these are the my elements. Okay, means this data is used on our picker view. It means I want this data on our picker view. Okay, here. Okay, so now how to use it. So now simply first you have to implement your components, means first method. So now how many sections if you want in your picker view. So now here I want a single section. It means I am written 1 because this function is written integer argument. Now implementing your second method. So now second method is number of rows in component. So now how many rows you want in your picker view. So now whenever you use your data, it means your array, now in between those elements are declared. It means the total number of elements same with or number of rows. So now here I am implementing a return array. It means your data dot count. So now here I am creating total 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So now here total 7 element. It means in your picker view I am creating the total 7 row. So now this counter is belongs to your data array. So now this is your second method, data of row in components. Now let's try to check the output of picker view. So now here let's run your application and see the output of your picker view. Now here I am implementing a simple picker view using a sample data. So now here there are total 7 different types of datas are there in your array. Now using two required method of picker view. So now first is number of components and number of rows in components. So now here you can see. So now see, right now your pickers is a blank. Okay, means your data array is not printed on your picker view. So now how to print it. Okay, so now for the print your data array on your picker view, so now we have another method. So now my method is title for row. Okay, now again this method is also belongs to data source, so now you have to also use here. Now you can see this method as a title for row. Okay, now how to implement it? So now this method returning as a string. So now here I am written my array object, it means data is with a row. So now data of row, so now row it means returning a different index value of your elements. Okay, so now let's check again. So now run your applications and see the output of your picker view. So now here I am implementing the picker view with simple date. Now see, okay, here your data the print on your picker view. Okay, so now this is your picker view. Okay, now here if you want to create more than one section on single picker view, okay, so now using this method number of components, so now here I am returning 2. So now let's see the output. Okay, so now in single picker view we have to require a 2 different section. So now here, okay, now you can use this method. So now you can see in a single picker view we have to require a 2 different section. So now at that time you can use this method, it means number of components in picker view. Now I am using one another method, so it's a did select row. Okay, so now again these methods belongs to a delegates. So now here UIPickerview delegate and jump to definition. So now here you can see the last method. Okay, did select row, it means this method is used to whenever you select any row from your picker, okay, at that time this method will be called. Okay, so now in between whatever you want. Now for example I am print a selected rows value. Okay, so now here your row value is belongs to data. So now here I am print data and selected row. So now I want use as a row it means as a index of your array. Now let's try to implement. Let's check again, run your applications. So now here let's see the output here. So now here I am using a did select method. So whenever you select any row of your picker view, so now at that time you can see your selected row values printed on your console. Okay, so now here whenever you select any row, okay, at that time you want a selected row value, okay, using this method. So now this is the did select row. Now actually there are the mainly 4 methods for the implementing criteria for the picker view. Now first of the number of components, second one is number of rows in components, and third one is the title for row, and fourth one is did select row. Now this method is used to according to your requirement. Okay, now here my requirement is very simple. So now here I am printing your selected element on as a console window. Okay, now if you want a selected row value in a alert format, so now here you have to also implement a UI alert view. Okay, you have to also implement here UI action sheet. Okay, means whatever you want as per your requirement at that time you have to implement in this method. So now this is the did select row. Okay, so now this is the picker view. Thank you.